Bible Study Guide Day 72, Deuteronomy 5-7. In chapter 5, Moses retells the story of when God gave the 10 Commandments to the Israelites at Mount Sinai. Before Moses goes over the 10 Commandments, he starts out by telling them to remember the covenant and to obey all of God's commands. Moses also reminds them that God's covenant is not with their fathers. It's with them. This emphasizes the fact that each person is responsible for their own obedience to God's laws. These commandments are not just a set of rules for the people to follow. They represent an agreement between God and His chosen people. The first 4 commandments focus on our relationship with God. These commandments remind us to put God first, to worship Him alone, to not allow any idols or distractions to come between us and our relationship with Him, and to honor those who have authority over us. The remaining 6 commandments focus on our relationship with others. These commandments remind us to treat others with love and respect, to not harm or deceive them, and to be content with what we have instead of desiring what belongs to others. As Christians, these commandments are still relevant for us today as they guide us in our relationship with God and others. Jesus even summarized all the commandments into 2 simple ones. Love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22:37-39. Let us strive to live our lives in obedience to these commandments, knowing that they lead us towards a life of righteousness and fulfillment in our relationship with God. In chapter 6, Moses continues to remind the Israelites of their covenant with God. He emphasizes the importance of loving and obeying God with all their heart, soul, and strength. This is a key command that is repeated throughout Scripture. When God brings the people into the Promised Land, they are to be careful to not forget about Him and all that He has done for them. This applies to us as well. In times of abundance and success, we must remember to give thanks to God and continue to love and obey Him. The chapter also talks about the importance of teaching these commandments to our children and passing down our faith from generation to generation. We are called to not only live out our faith, but also to actively share it with others, especially our families and children. One way we can show our love for God is through regular worship and prayer. By setting aside time each day to focus on God and His Word, we are strengthening our relationship with Him and showing Him that He is a priority in our lives. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness and distractions of life, but we must always remember to keep God first and love Him above all else. As we do so, we will experience His blessings and guidance in our lives. In chapter 7, Moses reminds the Israelites of God's faithfulness to them. He tells them that they are a chosen people, set apart for God's purposes, and blessed above all other nations. This reminder serves as encouragement and motivation for the Israelites to continue following God's ways. God also commands the Israelites to completely destroy the pagan nations when they enter the Promised Land. This may seem harsh, but it is necessary to prevent the Israelites from being influenced by these nations and turning away from God. Moses reminds them to destroy all signs of idolatry in the land and to not intermarry with the pagan nations. This is because God knows that if they allow idolatry into their lives, it will lead them away from Him. Similarly, as Christians, we are called to separate ourselves from the ways of the world and sinful influences. We must stay true to our faith and follow God's commandments without compromise. God also promises to be with the Israelites and to drive out their enemies from the land. Little by little, this shows His faithfulness and protection towards His people. We can trust in God's promises and know that He will always be with us, even in times of trouble. Just as God was faithful to the Israelites, He is also faithful to us today. Let us hold on to this truth and continue to follow Him with all our heart, knowing that He will guide and protect us on our journey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to help us spread the word. God bless you.